Jimmy, how you doing?
Jeremy, I'm doing great. How are you?
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you very much. So we're setting goals today. And this sounds on the surface sort of, I don't know, really kind of not that fun,
Right.
right? Sounds
Yeah.
sort of like generic.
It's something I know I should do, but I don't really want to get to it.
That's kind of, one of those things that people tend to push away. Maybe they don't examine this so much. We're going to try to make this a little bit more interesting, a little bit more fun. But really, the important thing to remind ourselves here is that it's important to get underneath the surface and really understand the why behind what people want to do.
Absolutely.
So
Love it.
that's the mission. I like this picture because it tells us, boy, goals are like, 1, 2, 3, 4. I got it.
Just stair step all the way up to the end goal, right?
Linear fashion.
Very
It's how
linear.
it works. It's how we see it kind of when we try to put things on paper a lot of times.
Right. You're thinking constant steps forward, that there's never going to be any 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah,
But that's just not how you envision it. It's only going to be progress without any pain.
absolutely. I think it's more like this in reality.
I definitely agree.
It's a squiggly line getting to wherever you are. And sometimes, even in this process, you find out that the goal was not something that you really wanted to have after all.
Right.
So people definitely have that. My goal is to be super busy with all the business I can ever possibly have. And then you get there and you're like, oh, well, gosh, I just got my dream, but my dream is not really all that fulfilling, perhaps.
No, absolutely. And when I look at this, you see like the sort of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. There's a lot of, there's growth in learning along the way in the journey, right? It's not linear. It is very much this moving target. You know, positives and negatives along the way, but it is quite a journey to get to whatever that end goal is.
It is. So we urge people, ask yourself why it is that you want to do what you think that you want to do.
Sure.
And I think that can be an uncomfortable space, but it can be a really important one. The iron triangle. So this is something that might kind of speak to some of our engineers out there, some folks who've been in project management.
Right.
It's really, you can swap out the quality in the center of this triangle with other things.
Right.
It's not just a quality control measurement, but it's important to understand it in terms of, like, think about, if I'm producing a new product, a new gadget, we can do different things with it. We can build different functionality with that. It's going to cost us something,
Right.
more or less, and it's going to take us time to do it. So think about it in those terms. I think what the iron triangle is really attempting to say to people here is that all of these things are not possible. You're probably not going to be able to produce the next mountain bike that's going to be, super fast and super durable and super cheap all at the same time.
There's gotta be some trade-offs there, right? You can't have it all. I mean,
Exactly.
in an ideal world you would, but it's just not the reality. There are trade-offs.
Yep. There's trade-offs when you're building products. There's trade-offs when you're goal setting.
Absolutely.
And actually, it sort of helps to frame up the world in that respect, because then it's not an infinite set of options out there. It's a little bit more contained. And if you're anything like me, sometimes you go to the shopping market and you see, my wife gave me the job to go get bleach one day, and there was 10 different choices of bleach. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I thought I was just getting bleach.
Yeah.
But there's like a lot of choices now. It's an overload.
Yeah.
So maybe this will help people to actually realize that, you can pare it down.
Absolutely. You have to.
You have to.
Right.
All right. So at On Track Wealth Management, we're in the business of helping people to get to their retirement. A lot of times that's what we're working on.
Right.
Get to retirement, have a successful retirement. There's a lot of questions and answers that we go through when it comes to goal setting.
Yeah, and I mean, successful retirement is subjective and different for everybody, right? And that's like, to your point of, like, the importance of understanding the why of why are these goals important to you along the way. And again, to your point, they can be uncomfortable conversations, but it's very rare that you find somebody that is able to achieve, in image we have here with retirement at the center to achieve all the the outside circle of the ideal lifestyle and having freedom and time to do what you want when you want, and having the income and the assets to do so. There's typically a trade-off somewhere along the way. To your example, the mountain bike, there's a real comparison that can be had there with retirement.
There is. I think it's so important for us to think about this. There's different philosophies out there, and we're not judgmental about any of them. If somebody wants to have a retirement really early, and if they want to retire at 45 and,
right.
and they're in their 20s and that's their goal, have at it.
Fine, right?
I would tell you that things might change.
Yeah,
meaning it might be possible, but you might change your vision.
Right, there's a longer time horizon there, a lot less unknown.
Yeah, because I could say for myself, when I was back in my 20s, I was like, oh, I'm going to definitely retire by the time I'm 50. I'm in no shape, way, or form desirous to retire.
Right.
So, but some people want to get to retirement quicker. Okay, so how do you do that? Maybe you you continuously work your way up the corporate ladder. Maybe you do a second job. Maybe you build a business on the side. Maybe you give up some of that free time in order to make more money and accumulate more assets that are then going to allow you to have a particular lifestyle that you want to have, not only today, but also in the retirement phase.
Right.
So it's not simple. It's a complex set of circumstances, but what we want people to do is think about those, maybe just frame it up, maybe do your own version of this, your own iron triangle to figure out, hey, these are the different elements. This is what I want. And how am I going to get there? What are the different aspects that I need to think about?
Yep. And again, I just think that whole why part is so important that we brought up earlier. It's, and understand that these things can and very likely will change for you based on how your life evolves, right? And I think we talk a lot about planning. When we meet with prospects or clients, it's not a one-time set and forget it plan. We're always asking, what's new? What has changed since the last time we talked? We can look at account balances here. Those things are easy to understand. But what's different with you, and your goals and what's important to you at this point in your life?
Yep.
Those things are going to change. So it's not a one-time set it and forget it. It's build a plan, set these goals, but understand they're going to evolve and change, and you got to be able to evolve and change with them.
Yeah. And look, we're not advocating that somebody should be looking to change their career every year.
Right.
Although, maybe that's exciting to some people, but there's a certain level of fluidity that you want to have in your life, and a capacity to be able to do different things and make a U-turn or make a right turn rather than a left turn.
Correct.
That's what you want to have. You want to have choices. Part of having choices is really understanding yourself and your goals.
Absolutely. Well said.
So, as two certified financial planners here, two fiduciaries, we always say let's sit down, let's make a plan. That's an important starting place for people. You were just kind of saying that.
Right, exactly.
How do you get into this process? What kind of pushes you along? Sometimes in people's lives, it's some sort of what we call in the business a liquidity event. Maybe they get an inheritance, or maybe something changes, something's major, right? Maybe they lose their job or they get a new job.
Right.
These are all things that need to think about. Working with a certified financial planner will help to guide you through the process of goal setting.
Right. And again, it's ongoing. Yes, let's make a plan, but we got to do planning ongoing continuously.
Exactly. So well put. Well, that's all we have for today, right?
I like it.
Thanks, everybody. We look forward to talking to you next time. Take care.